guys, what is going on? It is Spherical here. We are back with episode number 8 of Mob Psycho 100. Last episode really left us off right in the middle of the action. We had Ritsu going around and, well, pretty much destroying everybody. He was mistaken as White Tea Poison, who is, of course, Mob, which every gang leader in the city, or in the district, I guess, wants to go after and defeat. And, of course, Ritsu kind of had a field day on them all. Of course, Teru is there watching. The purple-hooded guy is also there watching. And then at the end of last episode, Mob showed up. So, again, there's a lot of people there, a lot of important people when it comes to this show. And again, I'm just curious to see what Ritsu's gonna do once he comes across Mob. Like, what's he gonna want to do? Is he gonna want to test his powers? I don't know if that's a good idea, considering Ritsu knows how devastating Mob can be. But I don't know. I'm ready to get into the episode. So links at the top of the description. It'll take you to Vimeo. Go watch the reaction highlight there, and then head back here afterwards for the post-episode discussion. With that out of the way, let's get into it. Alright guys, that was episode number 8 of Mob Psycho 100. A couple things we're going to talk about. First off, I want to talk more in depth about Mob's psychic powers and his kind of, his explosion. Basically, from what we had seen before this episode at least, was his 100% is basically, again, when we first saw him explode in episode 3, it was kind of talking to us about, again, how all of his emotions are bottled up and stuff, and that's what keeps him from using his psychic powers. When he reaches 100, it all kind of bursts. And, yeah, that's when all hell breaks loose. And, in that sense, we saw he was, he had exploded with rage, and that's, he was overcome with rage. And that was kind of what happened there. The second time we saw it was, with Teru. And I was kind of confused about that the first time I saw it, because again, there was the question mark percentage thing that happened too, which was separate from the 100% that happened just after that. That was sadness though. And that, he repaired the school with that. And then, so what we had seen from then is, Mob doesn't use his psychic powers against people, and he really doesn't use them at all. He only uses them maybe here and there to lift things or to accidentally bend a spoon, right? He doesn't really use them. When he hits 100%, he pretty much is forced to use them. And at that point, it just pretty much, it's like spinning a wheel. Whatever emotion he's feeling at the time, boom, that's what comes out. I'm still curious to see, like, if he can reach 100% and be happy at the same time, and, like, what would happen then. But what I was going to say is this episode is the first time we've actually seen him use his psychic powers for combat before hitting 100. So the way I kind of see it, now correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I kind of see things right now is we have this gauge from 0 to 100. At 0%, he's not going to use his powers. At 100%, he's guaranteed to use his psychic powers. But say it's at like 60%. From what we see, like the 60% means he's very likely to use his psychic powers at a given time as it's boiling up to 100. Because again, here when he started fighting the masked dude, he was at like 50 or 60%, right? And he just rushed in there and he's like, I gotta fight. I'm guessing that's what it is. Like, I'm guessing the whole 0 to 100 thing is, again, just a visual representation of when he's, when he's gonna, you guys kind of get what I'm saying, but I'm also explaining it kind of weird. What I'm trying to say is, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I guess it's almost like a probability that he's going to use his psychic powers at a given time. Would that make sense? Like, if it's rising and he's at like 50%, then he's like, well, no. I guess the way I see it is, if it's anything below 100%, he kind of has control over whether or not he wants to use his psychic powers. For example, the main example I'm talking about here is for combat. He's used his psychic powers for everything else, just in general, but combat's the one thing he won't use it for. So anything up to 100, like, it raises his likeliness and probably his strength if he were to use psychic powers and stuff, but he doesn't, like, he's not forced to do anything until he hits that 100% again, when his emotions just kind of burst and boom, the explosion happens. Of course, again, another question that that I've kind of thought of this episode is to do with the question mark percent. All we know about it is it's happened when he's unconscious, It's happened twice, I think, from what we've seen. It happened in Reese's memory when they were kids, and it happened against Teru. That's 2 times. Maybe it's happened more than 2 times, I'm not sure. We might not have seen like all the times that he's done it. But my question about that is it just like, can it just happen at any time he's unconscious? Or, because like, probably not, because if that's the case, it could happen just when he's sleeping, like at night, any night. I don't know if that's the case, but it seems like maybe when he's kind of beat up, or maybe if he's already had a high percentage, like if he's at like 70, 80, 90%, and then he goes unconscious, maybe that's when the question mark percent. Actually, you know what? That would make sense. Because maybe the reason why he didn't hit that question mark this episode was because he hit 100% before he went unconscious. And at that point, he maybe had kind of expended all of his psychic powers. And at that point, there wasn't anything left to use. I don't know. I'm not really sure how that works. Because, again, the time he used it against Teru, she was at like 80 or 90% when he hit that question mark, right? So I guess that's kind of my theory right now, is he has to be at a high percentage when he's unconscious, and that's when it'll unlock. But I don't know. That's completely a guess. It could be wrong. Of course, we're gonna have to expand on that. We're gonna have to expand more on what that question mark percentage even is. Like, we have no clue yet. So we learned about Claw. It's an organization, the first organization that's been able to kind of harness these psychic powers and you know, manipulate them to whatever they need them for, I guess. What they do is they, you know, capture espers, they mind wash them, and they use them for them. Like, I don't know what they do with them after, but yeah, that's kind of what they do. They have 100+ espers, which is it's a lot, but keep in mind, a lot of them are probably like the 5 we saw from the academy thing, where they're like, they kind of has some useless abilities and can't really do much. But of course, we don't know that for sure. What else? The dude with the sword, the katana, was that Sakurai that we... Because the dude with the hood was on a phone, and the contact, I think, was Sakurai. I don't think that was his name, but that was the contact's name. So I have to look back on that, actually. I think Sakurai was the guy with the katana, but I could be wrong. I might try and look back on that right now. Whatever, I'll look back on it after this episode's... Oh no, here, I have it right here. Here's the phone call between the hooded dude and here. Yeah, that's the contact name. So Sakurai was the dude with the katana, who he seems interesting because like he uses telekinesis on his sword. I don't know, I like that he kind of uses his sword. I think one of the coolest things in anime are people who use floating swords, like Gilgamesh or what's her name from Recreators, like people who manipulate swords through telekinesis and fight with them. I think that's one of the coolest forms of combat that I've seen in anime, or one of the most unique, I guess, because usually you would fight with a sword in your hand, but why do that when you can just use telekinesis on a sword and make it way more badass? Anyways, I think that's pretty much it for this discussion. Again, still some unknowns about Mob's powers. I don't know, it's just kind of interesting seeing Mob use his psychic powers, you know, before 100% to fight, which we've never really seen yet. Again, to protect somebody else. Because again, protecting himself, he doesn't really need to do. He can protect himself pretty easily with his shields and stuff. But when it comes to protecting somebody else that he loves, like his younger brother, he'll fight. And it's damn awesome when he does fight. We'll put it at that. But anyways, I'm done for today. As always, if you guys want early access and or the full-length versions of these reactions, click that link down in the description. It'll take you to patreon.com/sphericalfilms. And you can check that all out there. But with all of that out of the way, I do thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you guys all on Wednesday with episode number 9. Until then, peace out.